lore, the tea, the family drama.
Next to someone that is so proud of you and that you're so proud of, it just makes it just clicks. Everything just makes so much more sense.
Need to know more. Need an insider scoop.
She didn't just go silent in 7 days. Rachel Zegler reportedly cut off everyone on her team. Her agent, gone. Her manager, cut loose. Even her publicist, the one person who could have helped steer the chaos, out. No warning, no official statement, not even a cryptic tweet.
My name's Rachel Zegler, and I'm getting ready, and I'd love if you came inside and came on the journey with me. Welcome to my hotel room. Come in, come in, come in. Team! We're doing it again. Team!
Insiders say Rachel made the calls herself, one after another. Brutal, cold, final. No exit interviews, no contract talks, just a clean slate. The kind of move that screams either panic, power, or both. Some are calling it a meltdown. Others are calling it a calculated reset. But one thing's certain, something broke, and fast. This all exploded right after the Evita disaster, the shouting backstage, the cast walking out, the leaked legal threats, and the public shaming. And through all of it, her team said nothing. No spin, no rescue, no defense. So now everyone's wondering, did Rachel fire her team, or did they walk away first?
But I just want to say, in my personal life, I intend to move forward with a lot more grace for myself as I grow. There is a lot that I don't know, and I won't know it until I learn it, until I feel it, until I understand it, until I can see it in my hands and say, I am not broken, I am just learning. My break is not my end.
One source claims her agent had been quietly shopping her around behind her back, testing the waters with other studios without telling her. Another insider says her manager called her unmanageable in a private message to a major West End producer, something that reportedly got back to Rachel fast. And her publicist allegedly warned her point blank that going to war with the Evita cast would be career suicide. That, insiders say, was the final straw. That's when Rachel reportedly snapped and decided to burn it all down.
Do not act like you're a victim. It's part of the business. It's Hollywood, baby.
I am just learning. My break is not my end.
You are not done, and we are not done with you, Rachel Zegler.
Rachel's done playing nice. She's done taking advice. And according to one anonymous insider, she's not just burning bridges, she's nuking the whole industry. But this isn't the whole story, because what happens next might not just shake up her image, it might end her career for good.
In the video, they'll be studying this interview in PR classes for a very long time.
This is the interview that started the I hate her, I'm not gonna watch this movie movement.
The first domino fell on a quiet Tuesday morning. Rachel's agent, the same one who negotiated her Disney contracts and helped her land the breakout lead in West Side Story, was suddenly out. No farewell, no announcement, just gone. Industry. Watchers quickly noticed her profile had vanished from Rachel's agency page, replaced by a generic placeholder. Within hours, whispers began to swirl. Zegler had dropped her rep. Then, just 2 days later, it happened again.
This is not exactly an apology video. It doesn't feel like it's an apology video. Should she apologize? I think if she came off a little bit more apologetic for the not so great interviews, for the cringy, unprepared things that she said on interviews, maybe it would appease more people.
This time, it was her manager, the same one who had been with her since her breakout role. People close to the situation say Rachel felt completely misrepresented during the Evita fiasco, blaming her manager for not stepping in as the chaos unfolded. According to one insider, she accused him of standing by in silence while they ruined her. But the most shocking cut was still to come. By the end of the week, Rachel had fired her publicist, the one person whose entire job was to protect and shape her public image. That's when people in the industry started to panic.
There was an in-depth piece, like a behind-the-scenes piece, talking about how they've They've been in a full meltdown about this girl for a couple of years now. They flew an executive, one of the producers, out to go visit personally with Rachel Zegler to say, could you please take that down? And then they had to hire a special media consultant for her to follow her around all the time and make sure she didn't continue.
Why would an A-list star, someone with massive projects under her belt and millions in future earnings on the line, suddenly wipe out her entire team in one sweep? Why cut off the very people responsible for protecting her image, navigating scandals, and keeping her brand alive? Some say Rachel became convinced they were part of the problem, that they didn't defend her hard enough when the backlash over her behavior exploded, when viral clips spread, backstage leaks surfaced, and accusations of a hostile work environment gained traction. But others believe something much darker may have happened behind the scenes. One unverified claim suggests Rachel somehow got access to a private group message, one where her own team was allegedly mocking her behind her back. Phrases like PR nightmare and too emotional to manage were reportedly tossed around, and that may have been the breaking point.
This video is gonna get taken out of context, and I know that at this point I can't really stop people from doing that because that's what my whole existence on the internet is just me being taken out of context and stuff, which is fine. That's what I signed up for, isn't it? But I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have when I say that this has been the biggest adjustment of my life, like understanding the way my life operates now, being who I am, and the things that I've been so fortunate to make. It comes with so much ground that I never thought I would be able to cover, and that people think I'm doing poorly.
True or not, Rachel acted like she believed every single word, and just like that, her entire inner circle was wiped clean. Gone. But here's the twist no one saw coming. One of them didn't go quietly. In fact, they allegedly leaked something. Next, that could flip the entire narrative on its head. Something that threatens to drag Rachel from victim to villain. And if what's being whispered is even half true, this isn't just about a career meltdown anymore. It's about betrayal, manipulation, and the brutal cost of burning every bridge in sight.
People are putting it down to the lead of the film, Rachel Zegler's slightly strange PR and communications strategy. Jackie, what can our viewers and listeners expect?
Well, I don't think she's got a strategy for starters. I think they just leave that in the past. What was their motivation behind doing this? And why is Rachel Zegler allowed to just skip off piste with her own messaging and really upset the apple? Whose fault is it? Is it Rachel's? Is it Disney's?
Brilliant. We discuss this and so much more. It's Rachel Zegler.
At first, the firings looked like a meltdown, just a panicked celebrity lashing out after weeks of brutal headlines. But when insiders began lining up the timeline, things started to look murkier. This wasn't impulsive. This wasn't random.
Rachel Zegler is reportedly struggling to get hired. Rachel Zegler was supposed to be in Paddington 3, however she was dropped from that movie a few weeks ago, and they said that they dropped her because of the actors' strike. However, there are numerous actors in Paddington 3 that are a part of SAG, yet they're still able to film in the movie. So people are speculating that it might be because of another reason, and most likely is because of the Snow White backlash, and studios not wanting to hire her given the fact that it might result in their movie not making a whole lot of money at the box office. She also voiced the lead character of an upcoming cartoon that was meant to be part of Apple TV. However, Apple dropped the cartoon film. However, it was picked up by Netflix, but people are wondering why Apple dropped it in the first place, and people once again are saying it's because of this Snow White backlash and them not wanting the movie to suffer because of her backlash.
The big reason why so many people are turned off by Rachel Zegler's attitude and behavior, I think it's because it's reminiscent of this. I'm not saying that she's a mean girl in real life, but that attitude usually is something that people associate with mean girls in real life. The cattiness, the smugness. At the same time, I also think that it's just because she's a theater kid, so the way she acts makes sense and she just needs PR training. But anyway, I think people are just so done with the mean girl persona. Like, it's not funny. It's a major turnoff, and I feel like social media personalities have thrived on it before, but now girls are just done with it. And that could be because of the mistreatment that a lot of women have gotten in their lives from other girls. And so now growing up, after going through these mistreatments from other women in our lives, we're like, no. We're done with this. We are going to be an example, and we're going to call out the girls who are not for the girls.
Every firing, and from agent to publicist, came after a string of strategic calls, all reportedly made by Rachel herself. She didn't ghost anyone. She faced them head-on, one by one. Someone close to those calls revealed she came in swinging, telling her manager, "You had one job, protect me." Instead, "You let me walk into a war zone blind." It wasn't just about one moment. It was years of pressure, years of biting her tongue, being the polished face for decisions made by others. Now, Rachel's flipping the table. Those close to her say she's in full take-back control mode, cutting strings, burning scripts, and reclaiming her role as the architect of her own career. Privately, she's telling friends she doesn't trust anyone benefiting from her chaos. Too many people around her, she claims, care more about their own reputations than hers. But is this really about control? Some industry vets see it as exactly what it looks like, a breakdown in disguise. One talent exec said when a star drops their entire team suddenly, it sends a clear message. Unstable, unpredictable, a liability. That's no rumor. Fallout is already happening. A high-profile casting director reportedly pulled Rachel's name from a major project, not for lack of talent, but because, in his words, she's too hot to touch right now. Here's the kicker. PR insiders say you don't fire your publicist mid-crisis unless you're either incredibly confident or completely lost. So, which is it? A masterstroke of reinvention or the first real sign Rachel Zegler is spiraling behind the scenes? We're about to find out. One of those fired isn't staying silent. What they allegedly leaked next is not just personal, it's nuclear. You'd expect them to vanish quietly, but sources say otherwise. Within 72 hours of the final firing, a wave of anonymous leaks hit private group chats and industry boards. At first, just gossip, then real screenshots surfaced, complete with dates, contacts, and messages revealing a very different Rachel. One explosive leak was an internal Slack thread, allegedly between Rachel's publicist and two assistants, where the publicist said, "We can't keep cleaning this up. She won't listen to advice, she just wants applause." Another message, said to be from her manager, read, "I've done damage control for years, but now she's the damage." Then there's the agent. Insiders say they warned casting directors about Rachel's unpredictability months before Evita fell apart, not out of spite, but to protect other clients. This revelation stunned even her critics. If true, it means her own team was quietly sabotaging her behind the scenes, isolating her, feeding the narrative that she was difficult and emotionally unstable, all while cashing their checks. And then, the legal drama started. Rumors, unconfirmed but loud, say Rachel is considering legal action, not just for breach of contract, but for professional sabotage. A legal expert speculated that if she can prove intentional defamation from within her team, she might be entitled to financial damages. Her former team isn't backing down. One insider reportedly told a journalist, "If she wants war, fine. But we're not the villains here. She is." The situation is spiraling fast. What began as a private career reset is now a full-blown, behind-the-scenes war. And if you thought the Evita drama was over, think again. Because according to a new leak from inside the production, this entire team purge might have been triggered by what really happened backstage behind every public meltdown. There's always something darker happening in the wings, and for Rachel Zegler, it all points back to Evita, what was supposed to be her grand theatrical comeback, a bold reinvention of her image after months of backlash ended in disaster before the curtains even opened. According to multiple sources, tensions started on day one of rehearsal. Rachel allegedly arrived on set with her own creative notes, suggesting lyric changes, modern staging tweaks, and even rewrites to soften parts of Eva Peron's political legacy that didn't sit well with the director or the cast. One cast member claimed she told Rachel bluntly, "You're not here to rewrite history, you're here to perform it." From there, things unraveled. Fast reports say she clashed with the choreographer over demeaning movements, refused costume fittings without a female-only crew present, and once stormed off after being asked to tone down her vocal runs during a key number. But here's where it gets brutal. An anonymous crew member leaked part of a confidential rehearsal report. In it, Zegler is described as combative, resistant to feedback, and emotionally erratic. The report allegedly warned producers that If accommodations aren't made, cast morale will collapse, and it did. Two supporting actresses reportedly walked off the production after one particularly explosive rehearsal. The final straw. Rachel allegedly accused one of them of deliberately undermining. Her accused claimed the actress called delusional, and through all of this, her team did nothing. No press control, no behind-the-scenes intervention, no mediation, just silent sources. Close to Rachel say that's when she snapped. Not just at the cast, but at her entire inner circle. She felt abandoned, set up, betrayed, and according to one friend, she felt like they let her crash just to protect themselves. That's why she fired them, all of them. She didn't just walk out of Evita. She burned the trail behind her, but here's what no one expected, because once she was gone, so was something else: her name, her face, her role. And fans began noticing someone new in the spotlight. This wasn't Rachel's first fallout. Not with directors, not with co-stars. And definitely not with the public, because if you zoom out, a troubling pattern begins to emerge after West Side Story. Rachel was hailed as Hollywood's next Golden Girl, Spielberg's muse, a breakout star with poise, power, and promise. But then came Snow White, and everything changed. She called the original story weird, mocked the prince, dismissed the legacy, and in doing so alienated an entire generation of fans who grew up loving the classic. At first, her team tried to spin it. She's just being honest. But the honesty kept going. And each time Rachel spoke, it got worse. Soon, clips of her interviews were going viral for all the wrong reasons. Memes, mockery edits calling her woke, ungrateful, out of touch. And how did Rachel respond? By doubling. Down alone, she started posting cryptic tweets, unfollowing colleagues, even calling out the media for twisting her words. Despite the fact that most clips were unedited, people began noticing a shift not just in her career, but in her behavior. An ex-G Guazmate from a past project allegedly said, "Rachel builds walls fuss, once you're out, you're gone." And now it's happening again. Only this time it's not just co-stars or critics, it's her entire professional support system. Gone psychologists who study celebrity behavior say this is textbook isolation, spiral, a phenomenon where rising stars begin to believe that everyone around them is out to get them, leading to paranoia, abrupt firings, and ultimately career implosion. Even her fans are starting to wonder. One popular fan account recently posted, then deleted, "We love Rachel, but at some point you have to ask, is she pushing everyone away? Because for all the talk of empowerment, independence, and taking control, there's a fine line between cutting out toxicity and cutting out everyone, and Rachel may have just crossed it." But the fallout doesn't stop here, because Hollywood noticed, and what they're doing behind closed doors might be her biggest problem yet. When Hollywood turns its back on you, it doesn't send a press release, it sends silence. And right now, Rachel Zegler is hearing a lot of it. According to multiple talent agents, the phones aren't ringing anymore, at least not for Rachel. Projects that once had her on the shortlist have quietly moved on. Panels, promos, events, guest appearances, pulled, ghosted, postponed. One insider from a major streaming platform said it bluntly, "She's radioactive right now. No one wants to be near the fire." Studios are nervous, not just because of the Evita scandal, but because of what it revealed. A star who doesn't follow advice, fights her own team, and might drag your whole project into chaos. This isn't just gossip, it's about risk. And in an industry where millions are on the line, risk is the one thing no executive wants walking onto their set. According to an anonymous executive at a top talent agency, Rachel's recent firings triggered what's called a soft blacklist. She's not officially banned, but her name is being scrubbed from conversations. Directors don't want the distraction, producers don't want the baggage, and co-stars are already making quiet calls asking not to be paired with her for press runs or ensemble casts. Even Disney, the studio that made her a household name, is allegedly rethinking how much more they want to invest in the Snow White marketing campaign. One source says the new internal directive is, push the movie, not the actress. And that's a death sentence in disguise. Once a studio sees you as a liability, they don't argue, they don't negotiate, they just move on. But here's what's wild. Despite all the backlash, the firings, the leaks, and the industry chill, Rachel's not backing down. In fact, she's teasing something bold, something new, something no one expected, a total reinvention. And it starts with her next move, a move no one saw coming. When most stars get iced out of Hollywood, they vanish. But not Rachel Zegler. She's not retreating, she's rebranding. Just days after firing her team and disappearing from industry appearances, Rachel popped back up on Instagram. Not with a polished PR statement, not with an apology, but with a cryptic post. A single quote in white text on a black screen. If they can't help you fly, let them go. No caption, no context, just vibes. But here's what's interesting. That quote wasn't random. It's allegedly from a popular celebrity strategist known for helping fallen stars relaunch their careers on their own terms. Within hours, fans noticed Rachel had followed 3 new names, all tied to independent media ventures. One is a branding coach who worked with stars like Lindsay Lohan during her comeback era. Another is an indie producer known for edgy, self-funded films bypassing the traditional studio system. And the third is a former publicist turned YouTube docuseries creator who specializes in image rehabilitation. Is Rachel building her own team from scratch? One that works for her, not the studios? Sources close to her say yes. She's allegedly planning to launch a personal media project, something between a docuseries and a video journal, where she controls the narrative. No press filters, no man affairs, no spin, just Rachel telling her story the way she wants it told. One insider described it as her Meghan Markle moment, an unfiltered, high-production imagery set that positions her not as a diva, but as a misunderstood fighter reclaiming her voice. And if that's true, it might work. Because for all her controversies, one thing Rachel Zegler still has is an audience. People are still watching, still debating, still reacting. And in today's media landscape, that might be all she needs. But the real question isn't what she'll say next. It's whether the world will still be listening. A year ago, Rachel Zegler was Hollywood's rising star. Now, she's alone. No agent, no manager, no publicist, just a phone, a platform, and a trail of burned bridges behind her. Was this a calculated reset? A storm she had to create to rebuild her image on her own terms? Or was it the beginning of a slow, public unraveling? One where pride, paranoia, and pressure collided all at once? Because here's the truth. Firing your team doesn't erase the headlines. It doesn't make the viral clips disappear. It doesn't fix broken trust behind the scenes. And yet maybe that's exactly the point. Maybe Rachel's not trying to fix anything. Maybe she's trying to burn it down so she can start over from the ashes and on her own terms. It's a risky move, one that could make her or finish her. Because in Hollywood, reinvention is rare, and redemption even rarer. The audience remembers everything, but it also forgets fast if the comeback is good enough. So now all eyes are on Rachel. Will she rise again? Stronger, wiser, redefined? Or will the silence surrounding her become permanent? Only time will tell. But if there's one thing for sure, this story is far from over. And when the next chapter drops, you'll want to be here first. So hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay locked in. Because in a town full of comebacks and collapses, Rachel Zegler might just be the biggest plot twist yet.